Hey everyone, we're back this week with the newly released second trailer from Sony for their upcoming film, Venom.
They're doing their best to make you forget all about the Andrew Garfield Amazing Spider-Man series and kick off their version of the Spider-Verse. Now, if you're new to these comics, there's a whole lot of weird shit going on here. We're here to help explain that. We open in San Francisco, the home of the Life Foundation, and currently Eddie Brock. Eddie is an investigative journalist who sometimes speaks with the same cadence as Christopher Walken.
I found something really bad.
We transport to China where the Clintar symbiotes have probably landed. In this world, the Venom symbiote didn't hitch a ride on Spider-Man's black suit. Later on, we see an EMT responder that looks awfully murderish, leading me to think that she's been commandeered by a symbiote.
Now we can see that Carlton Drake, played by Riz Ahmed, has somehow acquired 5 of these symbiotes and is storing them in glass containers because that's definitely a really good idea. In the comics, Carlton Drake captured the Venom symbiote and managed to extract 5 quote-unquote seeds, resulting in 5 separate symbiotes. More on that in a few.
So by the looks of this trailer, you can clearly see that Sony spent a little more time prepping the CGI and effects, and it's definitely paid off. Eddie Brock is trying to fight off Venom, but he's clearly losing.
Guys, you do not want to do this, trust me.
Here we get a better look at some of Carlton Drake's motivations and why he's such a psychopath. He's looking for the next step in human evolution, and he thinks that the symbiotes are going to get him there. This matches his comic book motivation pretty closely. The Cold War was still fresh at the time, and Drake was anticipating Russia and the US nuking each other into oblivion. And for a price, Drake's symbiote task force could protect the survivors when everything else was snapped into dust.
Obviously, Drake has no regard for human life just by looking at the smirk on his face, considering there's a guy in the background just getting eaten alive by some goo. This particular symbiote appears to be blue, which was originally Riot's color in the comic. I don't think that will be the case here, as we know Drake will become Riot and appear as the Silver Shade later on.
We skip forward to the scene with Eddie and Venom next to the MRI machine, which clearly does not go well for anyone. Those familiar with the character will remember that symbiotes are sensitive to sound vibrations and fire. It's likely that in this world they're also not too fond of magnetic waves, and that MRI machine really pissed him off. Yada yada yada, cool Venom murder stuff, and then we see Eddie trying to reason with the symbiote to no avail.
What do you want from me?
You'll find out.
Eddie Brock and Venom traditionally only hurt people that they deemed had wronged them or others, but maybe that's not the case just yet. I'm not sure how I feel about this extra face growing out of Eddie's back. It kind of reminds me of Johnny Knoxville as Scrad in Men in Black 2, and it's not great. But you do get to see here how Venom can actually heal Eddie, presumably after he falls off that motorcycle in that super badass chase scene.
And again, we get some improved CGI here as we get the money shot from the original trailer, which includes Venom threatening to snack on the thug's organs before sexually licking his face. I had to do some research on this because I remember Venom is always threatening to eat people, but never actually making good on that promise. Maybe my young brain just tried blocking all that out.
So apparently the Venom symbiote is always hungry for this certain chemical that the human brain produces. Eddie Brock always circumvented this by feeding him chocolate, because comics. However, when Mac Gargan, more widely known as Scorpion, donned the Venom suit, he ate a whole bunch of people. I digress, this is a cool scene.
Eyes, lungs, pancreas, so many snacks, so little time.
So here's that EMT that we mentioned earlier. We said that there were 5 symbiote seeds. This one reminds me the most of Lasher because of this blade limb you see. It's too dark to tell, but if the suit had a green tint, I'd be a lot more sure.
We get a pretty decent tagline here. Really leaning into the anti-hero thing, and I'm kind of digging it.
And as we learned at San Diego Comic-Con, Riot will be the big bad in this film. You saw a piece of that office scene in the first trailer, but it was just people falling over for no apparent reason. But now, you see Riot manipulating his big-ass blade hands. So Riot can change shape pretty easily and also jumps from host to host. But for me, the Venom versus Riot fight is the selling point for this movie. It's almost like he's trying to peel the skin off of Eddie Brock's face.
And all of this culminates into a terrifying monster calling some dude a turd in the wind.
We will eat both your arms and then both of your legs, and then we will eat your face right off your head. You will be this armless, legless, faceless thing, won't you? Rolling down the street like a turd in the wind.
And the half-human, half-Venom face split reminds me a lot of the early Spider-Man comics with Peter Parker when his spider senses kick in.
So that wraps up this Venom trailer, but if you caught something that we missed, we want to hear about it. You can find us on all social media at the Chumpcast or email us at thechumpcast@gmail.com. Leave a comment below and let us know what you thought.